When I'll leave highly motivated, because I participate in United Nations General Assemblies for decades. And 4 years ago, we were here very excited because the community of nations agreed on the objectives for the Sustainable Development Goals. And a couple of months later, we agreed finally on the Paris objectives of COP21. Well, now we have found out over the last 4 years that we might have been on the right track, but we didn't reach the objectives and we are behind schedule. So now the wake-up call, obviously, has been heard this year, in particular in Europe, but far beyond that. And now the politicians are acting. So this is the time to take the momentum, and we are supported by this enormous youth movement, which I would take seriously and not discard as something you do in order to skip some school hours. No, this is really serious, and that movement will remain. So it is very good. We finally are moving, and what we have discussed here so far at the United Nations and the surrounding events is very exciting. The European Union showed up very, very strong here with many speakers, and even if I'm not a prime minister or a head of state, but in my contribution to the General Assembly, it was obvious that there was a huge interest. The fact is that the people are observing in other continents that Europe is getting active on the issue, and they don't feel that the Europeans are patronizing, but they are not expecting from the Europeans good ideas. And they are also expecting from the Europeans technological leadership. So this is a huge opportunity for us. We are required to pursue EU policy objectives. And if I listen to Ursula von der Leyen or Donald Tusk or Jean-Claude Juncker and Emmanuel Macron, many others, they expect us to be very, very active on the fight against climate change. And when the European Union has announced that they would go for a carbon-free Europe by 2050, that was an obligation for us to move more and more into projects of this kind. We already are the biggest climate financier in the world, but we do roughly 25 to 28% of our lending related to climate business. We have pledged to increase that to 50% by 2025 and to deliver an overall investment volume that we would trigger between 21 and 30 of 1 trillion euro. This is really a house number, and this has been very exactly noticed by our partners around the world. Europe is expected to act. Then it will have to develop good ideas on climate financing. And climate financing, like the financing of the Sustainable Development Goals, will never work with taxpayers' money only. We need to mobilize the private sector. We need to crowd in others. We need to encourage others to participate in that. We need to de-risk their risks. And therefore, an institution like ours, which is by far the biggest multilateral financier for climate projects, has a specific role to play and needs to cooperate with actors around the world, be they the other multilateral development banks, be they the national promotional banks and development institutions. That's exactly what we're doing.